Hi guys, 18 Dapper here and welcome to the latest match day preview for this weekend's fixture in League 2. It's Doncaster Rovers versus AFC Wimbledon at the Eco Power Stadium. Let's get into this one. So guys, welcome to the latest match day preview. It's Doncaster Rovers versus AFC Wimbledon in League 2 at the Eco Power Stadium tomorrow. If you're an existing subscriber, thank you so much for supporting the channel and continue to do so. It is greatly appreciated. If this video has brought you here and you enjoy this sort of content, please consider joining everybody else and clicking subscribe so you don't miss any future content. And if this is the first video that you've seen of mine, this is the format that we go through match previews, look at previous meetings between the two clubs, current form across all competitions. I choose a Doncaster Rovers player just to say a few words about, not necessarily a one to watch for tomorrow, just a bit of a overview of that individual in the Doncaster Rovers squad, but then I do give my opinion on the opponent's one to watch. But I always say, you know your club much better than what I do, so if you think somebody else should be in the conversation at that point, get them in the comments down below. I do like to learn about all the clubs that we're playing throughout the season. And then we finish the video off with three predictions, the predicted team lineup thanks to FanHub. Me and the family have got the predictions league, so there's an update on that, and then the all important score prediction at the very end. So with all that said, let's get into previous meetings. Donny and Wimbledon only faced off a total of 14 times in our history, with Wimbledon getting reformed and then climbing up the leagues. But since we have started facing each other, it's been relatively even. 5 draws, we've won 4, Wimbledon have won 5. So hopefully we can even it out tomorrow and win and make it 5 apiece in wins and draws and losses. Drilling down into the more recent 5 though, Wimbledon do just edge it in the recent 5 as well. Going back to 21-22 season in League 1, it was a 2-1 defeat at home and then a 2-2 draw in Wimbledon. And then in the 22-23 season in League 2, it was a 2-2 draw in London once again, and then a 2-1 win for the Rovers at home. So trading blows over those 2 seasons, but Wimbledon just edge it with the 2-0 win at their place earlier this season. So like I say, let's hopefully continue trading blows and get that victory tomorrow. Current form does lean potentially towards that victory. When we have a look at it, Donny unbeaten in 4, so we've got a defeat at the beginning of those 5 with then a draw, a win, a draw, a win. So if the pattern continues, it could be a draw. Wimbledon, on the other hand, a draw, a win, a defeat, a draw, and a defeat. So huge couple of games for Donny over the last couple of weeks. Those 4 games returned 8 points from a possible 12, and it has eased our relegation worries a little. 13 points away from the drop now, so still looking over his shoulders slightly, or I'm cautious about it still. We've got some tough games coming up, so we will see how we fare over the next couple of weeks. But over the last couple of weeks, we have been fantastic. Ruthless performance at Grimsby showed to me everything that this squad could potentially be. So I think a bit of patience from the fans, a good summer, and it could be a positive season next season if we keep some of the players that Grant's brought in. But I'm hopeful that we do continue this good run of form, 4 unbeaten, which is the first time we've done it in a couple of seasons. I think I'd have to have a real dig deep in that one, but we've certainly not done it this season. But we're up against a decent team in Wimbledon, but looking at their form at the minute, we could be hitting them at the right time, but they'll be wanting to get wins and points on the board as soon as possible. But for me, our primary objective is points on the board to stay away from the bottom 2. Like I say, some tough games coming up, so we need to get points on the board wherever possible, and home games is a great chance to do that. Wimbledon, a little bit of a blip recently with the 3 without a win, and it has seen them drop out of the playoffs by a point. So like I say, they'll be wanting to get points on the board for a very different reason to Doncaster. We want it to stay away from the bottom 2. Wimbledon are wanting the points to get back into the playoff picture. A very good season so far for them though, and they'll want it to end it strongly and achieve a playoff spot, as so many clubs have got potential of doing coming up to the end of the season. I think we're only 12 points away, sat in 20th, so it's a very, very tight picture from probably 15th upwards. Anyone goes on a run, they've got a chance of getting into that top 7. Wimbledon, though, they were a team that was scoring fairly freely earlier this season, and it's faltering a bit. Only 3 goals scored in the last 5 games, but still looking fairly solid at the back. Only conceding 4 in those previous 5 games. So I'm thinking it could be a tight encounter tomorrow. On to player profile. So for this video, I have gone with Joe Ironside, our main striker, our focal point in the Doncaster Rovers squad. 30 years old, centre forward, and for me, one of the best signings of the summer. He's given us that focal point up front, and I'm looking forward to seeing if he can build a partnership with Miller when Miller returns returns to fitness, returns from injury. But yeah, this season I think he steps up to the plate really well. 24 goal contributions, 18 goals scored. I think he's one of the main reasons why we're not in more danger than we are. Without his goals, we could have been in serious trouble. Like I say, we're still wanting points on the board to stay away from the bottom 2, but we could have been really struggling without Joe Ironside this season. Fantastic signing, great target man, battles game in game out, gets pulled to pieces, shirt tugged off him all the time, defenders on his back, and gets very little protection from referees, gives a little bit back and gives away free kicks. It must be frustrating for him, but the toys don't go out of the pram. He just sticks to his task and his job, and he's getting rewarded for it with assists and more importantly goals for Joe. So fantastic signing, looking forward to seeing more of him throughout the season and into next season as well. Moving on to the opponent's one to watch. So as I said at the start of the video, you know your club much better than what I do, so if you think somebody else should be included in the conversation here, please get them in the comments down below. But I have gone with James Tilley for this one. 25 years old, right winger, plenty of appearances across his career so far, at Crawley and Wimbledon, and earlier with Brighton. 292, only 42 goals in those almost 300 games, 14 assists, but it's this season where he's really hitting a sort of a purple patch. With Al Hamadi leaving Wimbledon, Tilley is now the top scorer with 12 goals. I think he's got 5 assists as well, so plenty of goal contributions from Tilley as well. So I think if we can kind of nullify his threat, we've got a chance of coming away with 1 or all 3 points tomorrow. Hopefully it's the latter and we get another win on the board. But yeah, for me, James Tilley, right winger, one to watch tomorrow for Wimbledon. On to the predicted team lineup. So this is thanks to FanHub. If you've not downloaded the app yet, please go ahead and do so. Plenty of features to get your teeth stuck into, and you get rewarded for following your club. What else is there not to like? So get that downloaded. I use it mainly to predict the team lineup, and I'm going unchanged from the team that battered Grimsby last weekend. Lo Tatala in goal, a back 4 of Sterry, Anderson, Wood and Maxwell, a midfield 3 of Craig, Bailey and Biggins, and then a front 3 of Molyneux, Ironside and Adelaken, who is an absolute unreal talent, and I'm surprised Lincoln have let him come out on loan. Just must not fit into their style of play, because he is showing the abilities that he's got, with plenty of assists and a couple of goals already since joining on loan. So I think after a 5-1 win, can you really change the starting 11 unless there's an injury? I don't think so. So I'm sticking with the team that beat Grimsby. On to the predictions of the league table. So if you're new to this, me and the family predict the scoreline for every single league game. If we get it spot on, it's 3 points. If we get the outcome of the game right but not the scoreline, it's 1. If we get it completely wrong, we get no points. And 3 of us went with Rovers wins against Grimsby. Obviously we weren't expecting a 5-1, so 3 of us have gained a point. My dad, though, he went with a good old Desmond 2-2, and remains bottom on 10 points, and he's got a bit of catching up to do now. Max just above him on 14, Chris just above Max in second on 15, and I am still leading the way. Big healthy gap there, on 27 points at the top. You can see them engraving the trophy now. And that takes me on to my score prediction for this one. And like I said, I think it's going to be a tight game. Wimbledon will be wanting the points on the board to get back into the playoffs, into the playoff spots. They're only a point out of it, so there's plenty of football still to be played between now and the end of the season. We want points on the board to stay away from the bottom 2 and continue this decent run of form that we're in at the minute. some very tough games coming up, so like I say, home games are a really good chance and an opportunity to continue to get points on the board. So I'm hoping to see a positive Rovers performance on the front foot like we were at the start of the halves against Grimsby. Get the fans off the seats, get us singing, get the atmosphere going, and hopefully Rovers on to a win. But I'll always predict with my head and not my heart. So for this one, I am going with a tight, nervy encounter. I think we'll share the spoils, 1-1. And that's where I'm going to leave this video. If you've enjoyed it, stick a big thumbs up on it for us, please. Comments in the section down below, get your predictions in down there. Subscribe if you haven't already. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.